It's time to shine, time to shine. So shine on. Ooh, shine on. It's time to shine. It's time to shine. Now's the moment you were created for. Can't you feel it's right? Come on, let's go. You're in control. So tell me why you want.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents, this time in Durham, North Carolina. And the person who brought me here is actually the subject of this conversation. Dr. Teresa A. Smith is sitting here with me. You know her, of course, as the host of Talk with Ties on Cyrus Webb Presents, as well as, of course, now joining me on ABC News Radio. We're going to talk to her not only about her book you see here, Stronger, but also what it's been like for her to use her different situations to be able to empower other people, what it's been like for her now to have a new audience as a media personality herself, and of course let you guys know what's coming up next. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it.
Dream by Melissa Banks. The Dream signature collection is the Pearl collection. Pearls are always appropriate. The Dream Custom Collection features pieces which allow you to be able to express your own style. The Dream Bridal Collection features pieces that are sure to add that special detail to your wedding or special occasion. Find out more about our affordable and stylish pieces at dreamdmd.com. Truth is not just something you read. It's a prompt for us to use in our reflection when examining who we are. True healing begins within yourself when you become aware of your truth. Before you look outside yourself for any kind of healing philosophy, you must filter your thoughts, detoxify your body, and settle your soul. Because when any of these three human aspects are out of balance, a disease will come into your system to wake you up and bring your attention into focus. Get the book, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing by Mary Ellen Saganovich, available now on Amazon.com or at AskMaryEllen.com.
And you are watching Cyrus Webb Presents here in Durham, North Carolina, my very first time here in Durham, and I'm excited to be sitting down with Dr. Teresa A. Smith. She's a individual I'm glad to call a friend. She's also the author of this powerful book you guys see here called Stronger. We're going to talk to you guys about the book, let you guys know how you can stay connected with Dr. Taz and all the great things that she's doing. Teresa, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cyrus.
Well, look, so first of all, you and I connected because of the book Stronger, but you do so much more now than just have written a book. You have your own show that you do live on social media. You now, of course, as I mentioned, are part of the ABC News Radio family with me, with Talk with Taz. How does it feel for you to have had all of these things inside of you now that people are able to see?
Cyrus, it's so heartwarming. As an artist, and I normally wouldn't refer to myself as an artist, but I guess I am.
Mm-hmm.
You think and you're always inventing different things. It's like, well, how can I share it?
Mm-hmm.
And so now that I'm able to share all of these different things with the masses, I'm really getting excited. It's humbling because you don't want to let anyone down, but just to know that I've been working at something and now I'm beginning to see the rewards of my labor. So I'm just over the moon excited.
Well, it all began, though, for many of us, as with myself, with the book Stronger that I mentioned earlier. How does it feel, first of all, to be a published author? You know, just like I know, Teresa, that this is the goal of so many people, to just have a book out. So many people talk about having a book inside of them. You've now put that book out for the world. How does that feel to be able to look at this and to know that you did it?
Cyrus, it makes me want to cry. I have been writing a book since I was a little girl, and I would always tell my mother that, I'm writing a book, and I always thought then it was going to be about self-esteem, because I realized early on that self-esteem was so important and how it was intricate in my life and how I was surviving all the things that I was dealing with. So to now see that I've written this book, and it was a dream from when I was a little girl, I can't really convey what that feels like. It's really surreal, but to know that it's here and that I was able to take something that I conceived as a little girl and now people can hold it in their hands, or they can listen to it, or they can, read it through their Kindle. So it's just amazing.
Right. Well, for those who don't know Teresa's story, you've overcome a lot. You've gone through a lot of things that, there are individuals out there that can definitely relate to. But what is so powerful about you, Teresa, is that you have not allowed these things to stop you. You've been able to allow it to do exactly what the title of the book says, and that is to make you stronger. So I guess an obvious question would be is how, right? Because there are some people who haven't gone through a fraction of what you've experienced, and it has broken them. They don't feel as though they're worthy of anything. How have you not allowed what you've gone through to define you?
Well, as I said, I always thought that self-esteem was what it was. I didn't realize it was something more than that. It was really something innate. And so I just determined that whatever had happened was not going to derail my progress. Even though, not to give things away, but I will say this, I'm an incest survivor. It was always that I was going to go to college. I was always going to go to college. My parents implanted that seed in me and they nurtured it. And so I knew that education was the gateway to opportunities. So even though I was struggling with incest and other things, I just stayed focused on my education. And as a result of that, doors began to open for me. Was it the doors that I thought was going to open? No, but still doors open. And so that kept encouraging me in a way that no one external could do, that I could do, be successful in whatever I chose to do.
Yeah. Another big part of this book that Teresa shares, I think is so important because even if things have happened to our audience out there, Teresa, as they've happened to you, we all have had our own challenges. Not being defined by the challenges and not using that as a reason not to do. You didn't allow what happened to you to stop you. So, did you know that it was always going to be your responsibility on how you chose to respond to what happened?
I'm thinking about that, Cyrus, because that's a very deep question. Did I always know it was going to be my responsibility? Yes. Why I knew, I can't answer why, but I always knew that I had to take control over it. And I don't know if it comes from the fact that my parents supported me the best way that they could, but they could not provide the emotional support that I needed.
Gotcha.
So therefore, if it was to be, it was going to be up to me.
Sure.
And so I think that's what kept propelling me forward.
Yeah. Faith is another big part of your life. You and I have talked about that both in our interviews as well as in our personal conversations. How has your faith helped to keep you encouraged? Because I think for all of us, we're going to have those challenges, those times when we think, can I even make it through this? Or is this even possible? How has faith played a role in your kind of staying stronger?
Recently I was doing some work and I was reminded of a scripture, and I'm going to butcher the scripture, but it's about knocking and the door will be open, seeking and you will find. And I remember when I came to that scripture, I was living in Carborough, North Carolina, and that scripture just brought me so much comfort. I'd newly graduated from college. I was trying to find my footing in my career and dealing with all the things from my past. And I found that scripture. And for me, it meant keep seeking, keep knocking.
Right.
And it was encouragement that I needed. And so there have always been times where the proper scripture will come, or I will find it in some sort of way, and it continues to minister to me. So it's almost like an internal, external motivator that tells me that I can continue to move forward regardless of what's happening at that time.
Wow. It's a great reminder for all of us. For those who are just joining us, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm making my very first trip to Durham, North Carolina, thanks to this beautiful lady next to me, Dr. Teresa A. Smith. She's the host of Talk with Ties on social media, as well as Talk with Ties on ABC News Radio, of course, out of California. We're going to talk to her about that, how that feels, and what it's been like for her now to be able to share her messages that way. Teresa, I want you to stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Cyrus Webb Presents right after this.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenneth Brown. I'm a proud owner and Chief Executive Officer of Sphinxman Protectors LLC that is based out of Columbia, South Carolina. My company specializes in corporate security as well as emergency protective custody and general bodyguard services and general security management for those that need our services. Please reach out to us at 803-479-2908.
And we are back with Cyrus Webb Presents here in Durham, North Carolina. We're here with Dr. Teresa A. Smith. You guys know her as Dr. Ties. She's the author of the book you guys see here, Stronger. Of course, we're going to let you guys know how to get the book. But you're not only an author, Teresa, you also are a host as well. You have your own online show called Talk with Ties. Now, of course, you're part of the ABC News family with me with Talk with Ties. First of all, how did the idea for Talk with Ties come about?
Well, Cyrus, I knew that I had to find a more universal way of reaching my audience. I'd gotten some feedback from folks on my book, and they were like, everybody needs to hear about this. And I thought, well, how do I reach folks? And so I was talking with a friend, and she's like, well, just go on Facebook. Everybody's doing live. And I said, okay. And so from that idea, Live with Ties was born. And so it's just gone from there.
Wow. So I want to talk about that because you've been able to share great messages that way. Have you always known that social media was going to play a role in how, here, give me the look, Ulrich. She's giving me the look. I don't know if y'all saw it. But, let me ask you this. How has social media helped you?
Oh, well, Cyrus was about to ask it. I probably wasn't going to ask it this way, but, did you always know? No, I did not. I did not know that social media would be a part of my professional life.
Okay.
And so I'm still finding out how to do it all because I didn't realize just the power of social media.
Yes.
And so what it has done is it's allowed me to connect with folks or stay connected to people in California. I had some folks in California that had already purchased my book. And so I've been able to stay connected with them. They tune in, then listen to my live. I've gotten feedback from people all across the country just based upon the social media platforms. And I did not realize just how it allows us to connect globally. So I'm excited about it.
Well, I'm going to share with our audience something they don't know, Teresa, and that was the phone call I made to you when I joined the ABC News radio family. And you guys don't know this story. I'm sharing it for the first time publicly. When I knew I was going to have this great opportunity to have an hour program, I knew I didn't want to just make it about me. And that's kind of always been a part of my brand and sharing what I've done with other people. And there was one person that I thought about, and I said, this is someone I want to bring with me on this journey. And that person was you. And so I think I sent you a message and asked you to call me. And so I want to talk about that because I think this may be interesting for our audience. What did you think? Did you believe me, Teresa, when I first told you about it?
Let me just say it was early in the morning.
Okay.
Real early. And it was Christmas in July, August, September, October. I was overwhelmed. I really, because I know the character that you have, I believed you, but it was more than my mind could comprehend at that moment.
Sure.
To know that I had a show that was on Facebook and being shared through social media, and that you thought enough of my message to want to include it in your hour-long radio show that's going to be live in San Bernardino, California. That was more than what my mind could conceive of at that moment. And I'm honest, I'm still not quite there.
I get it. I'm having, it's taken me some time as well. But I wanted to tell our audience why you were the perfect choice. I have built now for 16 years, built my platform, Teresa, in trying to give people a voice and to amplify messages that I believe in. To this day, 16 years into this program, people don't know where I really stand on anything because I've never made it about what Cyrus thinks. But I believe so strongly, not only just in your message, but in you. And I knew that I could do something to propel that. And I knew what this opportunity was going to mean for me. So I knew, and I've said it to you, I've said it to her in our personal conversations. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure people know who you are. I've said that to
You
you.
said that.
And that is why I wanted to do this, because I know this is going to be just one of the ways that people are able to do that. But you have done this for other people, and you and I have talked about this, and you don't have to get into details. But how does it feel, though, for someone to see in you what you have tried to do for other people?
I'm trying not to tear up, Cyrus. It just makes me grateful. I've never had anyone pour into me. I've always poured into other people. So for someone else to see something in me, and it's not about their gain, and to honestly want to assist me, it just proves to me that's what life is really supposed to be about.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we don't see that, but that's what it's all about, being
Sure.
able to help someone else and not looking at what you're going to get out of it. And so for me, I'm just so grateful and honored that you saw something that you thought that was worth helping to nurture and grow so that it can impact other people. So I don't have the words to conceptualize that.
Well, I want our audience to know, and this is something I talk about a lot, is that Teresa's success in no ways diminishes my success. Just like your success in no way diminishes anyone else's around you success. So never feel as though you can't help someone else because that's going to take away from you. I'm so glad I had my grandmother to teach me that what's meant for you is for you. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. What is meant for you is for you. And that your success is not going to look like my success anyway.
No.
You know, and so I hope our audience gets this lesson from this. I've had opportunities, Teresa, I was in New York speaking to a fellow radio show host. And I was saying to her, I've always celebrated her. Always, invited, hey, if you want to come on my program and talk about something, she's had me on. And I said to her on camera, I want people to know that this is possible. Yes. There doesn't have to be competition. You know, we all bring something different to our space, and you are able to present. We talked about it even today. Yeah. You're able to share things I can't share. You know, I've been in a position where I may be able to share something that may benefit other people. So I want our audience to get that, to look for ways that you can use what you have to be able to help somebody else, because that's where success really happens.
Yes.
You know, my being able to end 2019 on ABC News Radio was something I didn't even know was going to happen. But I knew I've been putting in the work.
Yes.
I knew I'd been doing what I was supposed to be doing. And that's what you've done. And that is paying off for you in so many different ways. So I want to talk about that, because I think that's an interesting conversation about success. How has your idea of success, Teresa, changed even from the writing of this book?
You know, I always talk about don't measure your success by anyone else's success, but that's still a foreign concept, because we look at what other people have been able to achieve as what quote unquote success is.
Sure.
And, you know, now that, you know, I'm on the radio, I realize that, you know, I've got some success. It's different. My path has been different. It may not have even been part of my destination, my known destination, but I've got some success here, and I have to celebrate that. You know, so I've been thinking about, now, how are you going to celebrate that this year? You know, I've got a trip coming up, Cyrus. I'm going to be going to Rio. You guys heard it here first. But during that time period, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to think about what does it look like now? Because before, when I've traveled abroad, you know, it's just I'm traveling abroad. But now it's a little different. Because now I think about my audience. I think about the work at home. And then I'm thinking about how can I connect it to? Because people will get a chance to see the world through my eyes now.
Yeah.
And that's important, because that's a responsibility.
That sure is. And I'm so glad you said that, because it's a responsibility really I think all of us have in our own way. I mean, all of us can impact the lives of other people. It's how we choose to do it. Again, everyone, Dr. Teresa Smith is our guest for this segment of Cyrus Webb Presents here in Durham, North Carolina. My very first trip here to Durham, Dr. Smith has brought me here. We're sitting down having our first in-person conversation together, not only about her book, Stronger, but also about what it's been like for her with Talk with Ties, her platform on social media, and now Talk with Ties, the radio show as well. Teresa, we're going to take another break here. When we come back, I want to talk about the work. because you've done the work. You encourage your audience and stronger to do the work. I want to talk to you about what you would say to them about the importance of the work and how you can be able to help them with that, okay? All right. You all stay tuned. There's more to come after this. God has an individually drafted plan which is specifically detailed for each one of us. God has a plan set forth for each of us that always involves others. Many of us tend to have our own plans for our lives already mapped out before we begin to pursue them. But the greatest of these is love is an adventure into learning about the very heart of God. This book will begin to take you to a fresh place of determination to see yourself as a son or daughter of God. But the greatest of these is Love by Dennis Perkins, available through Christian Faith Publishing or Amazon.com.
I love inspiring hearts, I love motivating souls, and I love seeing eyes light up when they recognize their true beauty. Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to the J-Spot. It's time to ignite your you. Welcome to the J-Spot. Decided I would take you here for a walk in Los Angeles, which is one of the things that I love to do because it's one of the things that make me feel better. And that's what today's show is all about. What makes you feel better? Listen, it's super easy for you and I to talk about all the things that don't feel good in our lives, complain about the things that aren't working, why you're not in a good relationship, or why, you don't seem to have the job of your dreams, why your health isn't good, why. But what we often, and this is the truth, don't look at is what part you and I play in that. And the number one thing that the majority of us do not help ourselves along with are the thoughts that we think. So, if your life isn't where you had hoped it would be, instead of complaining about it and seeing it as a problem, see it as a challenge. See it as something that you now are aware of and that you now can improve upon. Because if you go down the road of complaining about what your life looks like, what you don't have in it, all you're gonna do is invite more negativity, more yuck, yes, I said yuck, energy surrounding that. And you're gonna make choices that are in that yuck alignment. So figure out what areas of your life that you can do a little less of that. So if you're complaining about 80% of the time, cut it back. Try complaining 50% of the time. Hopefully we can go a little lower than that, but we'll start small. If you realize that you don't have the healthiest eating habits, maybe each day of the week, try adding something more nutritious to your diet. If you're not loving your job, then maybe each week you spend some time looking for what it is that you do want, sending a resume out, connecting to somebody that can help connect you to something that you would love doing. Ultimately, your life, the power of your life is up to you and I. I spent so much of my life talking about the dark cloud that followed me, and you know what that did? That made me act like I was not in control of my life and I was just getting dragged around. And the truth is that I wasn't making the choices that I could have made for me. Shoot, now I recognize, I'm aware of it, and then I make decisions to better my life. So that's what this is all about. That is the way to live a more joy-filled life. Recognize, be aware, and then take inspired action to change it. So for today, will you be a little more positive in your life? Have a beautiful day, guys, and of course, a beautiful life. Can't wait to see you on next week's The J-Spot.
There is only one race, the human race, but the President of the United States is Klan, and his plan to separate the races is set in place. 300 years in the United States future. Author Tracy O'Neill Horton, whose own eyes were open to racism while serving in the U.S. military overseas, wrote K3 both to open others' eyes to hate crimes and to inspire readers to change the country's trajectory through courage and love. Get K3 by author Tracy O'Neill Horton, available on Amazon, in paperback, and on Kindle.
And we are back with our final moments with Dr. Teresa A. Smith, or Dr. Taz. We're here in Durham, North Carolina. We've been talking with her not only about the amazing success she's been able to have, her book Stronger. Of course, we're going to let you guys know how to get that. But the other thing you and I have talked about, even off camera, Teresa, that you've been able to do is that you've been able to galvanize people offline as well as online. So you have met people who've gone through different situations. Why has it been important for you in the coaching aspect to be able to help them through their journey?
Well, it is a journey, Cyrus, and it's interesting that you asked the question. About 3 weeks ago, I was walking through a store and I got a phone call. Well, I looked at my phone and I knew who it was because the person's name was in my phone, and they called me and they were like, "Now, who am I speaking with?" I said, "Well, this is Dr. Smith." They were like, "Oh, hi, Dr. Smith. I was trying to reach such and such." And so this person's in New Jersey. And I said, "Well, what's going on?" And then they told me what was happening. And then in the store, we probably had a 3-minute conversation.
Wow.
And she was like, "Well, thank you, Dr. Smith. I guess I was supposed to call you." I said, "Well, anytime." And this is a person that I've worked with. And so I know her story. I know her struggles. And so even though I wasn't expecting a call, we were able to have a quick coaching session. And
Wow.
she's now moved forward and she let me know that things were going well. And that happens all the time. Sometimes I'll get a quick email. And so as a result of that, I realized that my coaching is sort of shifting. It's not as traditional as we once thought it had to be. Sometimes my clients just need a quick phone call. They need a quick email just to get some guidance. And so they're back on their path.
Gotcha.
So I'm enjoying it.
Well, I think that's the great thing, and you and I have talked about you're going to be building a community of survivors who have become stronger together, men and women. I bring that up because so many times, especially as we're talking about survivors of abuse, women are normally front and center, and their stories are definitely important. But why is it important for you, too, to make sure that men know that their stories matter, too?
Well, I've had lots of people talk about the fact that they've got men in their family or men themselves who've been abused. And for some men, they struggle with this idea that they were somehow played a willing participant in the abuse. And as I've said to folks, as it relates to men, because their bodies are a little different from ours, they're having a physical reaction. The physical reaction doesn't mean that you have agreed to the abuse. Meaning your body is reacting, but that doesn't mean your mind or your heart is saying, "Yes, I want to be a willing participant." And I think men need to know that they don't control their body. And so they don't need to carry that shame or guilt with them, because that just prevents them from being able to heal. And so I want to work with men also to let them know that they are still an individual who deserves help and that they can move past whatever the incident was that occurred with them.
Wow. So it's a lot that you all can take advantage of, which leads us to this then. What a great conversation we've been able to have, Teresa. And I'm so glad, for one thing, that you invited me here to Durham, North Carolina. You're the first person I've sat down with since I've been here, so I'm excited about that. Let our viewers know how to stay connected with you and how they can get more information.
Well, the best thing to do is just reach out to me at www.askdrtaz.com. My social media is also on the website, and you can just connect with me there. And I look forward to just hearing your stories and reaching out and helping folks. As Cyrus said, I am building an online community. And so it is open to men and women. And I just want to assist you as you make the transition into a stronger life.
All right. Speaking of Stronger, make sure you guys also get her book. You'll see it on our website there. Also, it's through our friends at Amazon.com. You all can definitely take advantage of that. Again, Teresa, thank you so much for this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. But finally coming to North Carolina. He's in Durham, North Carolina, the Tar Heel State.
Yeah, glad to be. Oh, and we'd be remiss if we did not give a shout out to Jacqueline Thomas,
Yes.
who made this connection possible. So, Jacqueline, thank you so much for all that you do and for making this connection with myself and Teresa possible. Looking forward to sitting down with you. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, let's make it a great one.